So when did Republic also go bankrupt?
Republic went bankrupt, and Forward was a big public company, and they bought Republic and Peerless, which is the two companies together.
And did you work for Forward then? No.
I worked for Forward.
Oh, so I forgot. I didn't know this part of the story. Okay.
Because I worked for Republic, and I knew they were going broke too. So I had to find a way of finding somebody else. I went to other companies, but that didn't work. Joe Giordano and I started becoming very good friends, and we tried.
And
to
Joe was he was a controller, or he was a...
Yeah, well, he was a technical guy. He knew all about the toolings, and he ran most of the orders I bought, and he made sure they came out right. But Republic couldn't survive this. It was no good. And that's how I started getting out of there too, because they went bankrupt, and then Forward came along and bought them. Forward was a big company doing about 2.5–3 million. And they told me that with the specialty advertising, which I was running at the time on my own, I could come along with that company and do the business from Forward, and they would pay me. So again, it became a question of money. Shemtov didn't have the money. They leased a car for me, which was into huge debt, the car. And they couldn't.
And the factory was in Brooklyn, or the factory?
Yeah, in Brooklyn. And Shemtov couldn't pay me the leasing fee, the monthly lease. And he said, just leave the car. And I said, the car is mine. I said, you've got to pay for it. Well, he refused to pay. So I went to Teddy Schiffman, who was the chairman of that company. I said, Teddy, I gladly come to your company, but there's a problem. So he said, how much? He said right away, how much does it take to get the car? So I gave him the figure. He said, we'll send you a check. And
did it bounce?
No, their checks didn't bounce. No, they
now, who
were
was Teddy
financially very strong.
I don't understand who Teddy Schiffman was. Was the owner of...
Owner of Forward Industries.
Oh, he owned Forward. Oh, I see.
He owned Forward. So
was he an Hasidic Jew as well? Was he a Hasidic Jew?
Yeah.
Was he an Hasidic Jew?
He was a extremely Orthodox Jew, but not the Shemtov, not the same. Wasn't the same. Unfortunately, he died too young. He was run over by a car.
In New York City?
In Brooklyn, yeah. Way after I left, way after. It was
so how long were you at Forward? 3 years or 5 years?
3 years. So I bought Heat Sealing. That's the name of the company. And I came to Forward, huge company running telephone cases and doing all kinds of big things.
And also a factory in Brooklyn?
Yeah, they had a factory in South Bend, not in Brooklyn. No.
Oh, they were in Forward was in South Bend?
South Bend. So Peerless, the advertising company, was shipped to Indiana, and I commuted quite often to Indiana.
So you would go back and forth to Indiana? I don't remember this.
Oh yes, I did. But the problem was that the market changed, and the Peerless business became less and less. I couldn't bring in the business, and Republic and Forward Industries were running into problems by having two places, one in Brooklyn and one in Indiana. And the people from Brooklyn swore on a stack of Bibles that they can survive and make it. And I said, no, you can't. You cannot run two factories. The margins are so tight that we can't possibly survive as two companies. It has to be moved into one company. And the place to move to is to Indiana. It's cheaper labor, cheaper everything. and let them run it down there and give up this place here. It's a huge place. I told that to Teddy, not to Shemtov. I said, it's a huge place. You've got to give it up. And the people working for him working for the Republic, they were beyond themselves. They said, we can make it, and we can. They were all Shemtov's type of people. They were going to run it to be. Well, Teddy Schiffman listened to me, and that's how I became the guy running forward. You know, he said to me at a big meeting, it was a very nice meeting, and he said.
And where was he based? He was in Brooklyn too, Schiffman?
Yeah, yeah. So we met in Forward Industries in Manhattan first, and everybody had to come in, including the sales manager of Peerless. His name was also Haberman, Steve Haberman. He spent fortunes on offices in California, on offices here. We had offices, Forward had offices all over the place. This guy was a national sales manager. They were beginning to lose money. A nice guy, and I felt very bad for him. We had this huge meeting, but he was on the West Coast on a trip. And during the huge meeting, Teddy Schiffman said, do you see your name up there? I said, yeah, it has to be ADA, it has to be one of the first. He said, it's not the reason why it's up there. You're going to run the company for us. And the guy came back from California, was out of a job. He said, Teddy says, move into his office right now. It's finished, he's done. You know.
I didn't know any of this. So in other words, so you took over Forward.
Yeah.
And what were you, like 60 or 62 years old?
60, yeah, somewhere around there. Listen, I'd learned the business. I knew all about the business. Not just how to sell the stuff. That wasn't my fault. How to make it and how to get stuff organized. You know. So.
And you had to go to Indiana once a week, once a month? Or?
No, every 2 weeks or so.
Fly from White Plains or from LaGuardia?
Yeah, no, always from Northwest Airlines.
From White Plains?
To Detroit, and changed planes in Detroit to South Bend. That's in Detroit. The airport had called Ho Chi Minh Trails because the feeder line
it's such a
Northwest.
Long walk.
Oh God!
It's still a long walk. It's still the same.
And I had a problem at that time with my valve in my heart, and I had to run to catch the flight to White Plains. And I was in so much pain sometimes going down. Your mother would have killed me. You know, to catch this. I was so often in Detroit at that airport. But I was well known at the Westchester Airport. They knew when I came, upgrade, finished, you know.
Yeah. You never, yeah. So you flew a lot out of Westchester. I didn't know that.
Yeah, always out of Westchester, yeah. And
so how long did you work for Forward then? 2 years?
2 years, yeah. 2 years. And then after their bank, they didn't go bankrupt, but then everything moved to South Bend. And Teddy told me, Teddy Schiffman said, he says, you can't do this, Joe, from here. You've got to move.
Right.
You got to move to South Bend. Give it a try. Go for a year. We get you an apartment or something. Yeah. I couldn't do that to your mother. She wouldn't. I think she was already not too well in those days. Because she was looking for me all day long where I was and called continuously. So that was not for her to move to Indiana. I figured I'd call it quits. I became their consultant. And I did okay for a while, and it sort of, you can't be a consultant to a company and not be on the inner circle.
Right.
You don't know what's going on. You have an office there, but they don't call you too often. You know?
Right.
So it's being a consultant is very nice, but it doesn't pay your bill.
So who owned the company when Ted Schiffman, when he got hit by a car, who took over the company?
Teddy Schiffman?
Yeah, when he
His
died.
son.
His son.
Has two sons.